Hey, everybody. Let's see here. We'll be getting some people in here in a minute, but first, I do want to say a few things that me and my dad will be going out sometime tomorrow morning and doing an investigation. Uh, this coming weekend, we will not be doing anything Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It's my wedding anniversary, my 11th anniversary, so we ain't going to be uh, doing anything this weekend. But the next weekend, on next Sunday, we will have a guest. Ron Fitzgerald's going to be on. He is a Gothic magician, illusionist person, and he's going to be on. So, hey, Echo, how you doing? Appreciate you coming in.
11 years. That's a good innings. 11 years married.
Yeah. So I ain't gonna do nothing Saturday and Sunday of this coming week. Hey May, how you doing? Appreciate you coming in. Thank you so much.
Oh, give me a second. I'll let the cat back in because she's crying even louder to get in. Come on, quick, quick.
Well, let's a few other people get in here so they know that we're going live. I got to get myself set up over here.
That's my pretty cat. Ooh, there she is. She's You're noisy. Go on. Go over there and be quiet. I don't know what she wants. She's been fed. She probably just wants a cuddle. She probably just wants love.
I've got 4 little baby kittens downstairs.
Oh, kittens! It's hard, isn't it? Because we've got in this house, we've got 4 cats. My cat and my daughter has got 3 cats, and they're inside cats. They're not allowed out, and they've got an enclosure that was purpose built down the side of the house.
Yeah.
Hey everybody, purpose built down the side of the house. So they can't kill wildlife and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But every now and then when I go to the pet store to buy supply or whatever, there'll be baby kittens. And obviously I don't get one, but it's really hard sometimes to walk away. They're so little and they're so cute. But I'm a sucker for animals. Hi, May.
Let's see. All righty. We'll go ahead and get started. We've got some people in here now. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
What can I tell you about me? Well, for people who don't know me, obviously, I've got a funny accent. If you're in America, you're thinking, she sounds weird. Yes, I do, because I'm Australian. But you guys all sound weird to me. Actually, no, Americans don't sound weird to me because I guess growing up watching American TV. So Americans don't sound weird to me. They just sound normal. But I must sound weird to you. I live in Australia. I've traveled to America 1, 2, 3 times now, and really like it. I really love America. Very, very, very cute. Very nice place. Everybody was friendly no matter where I went. I never had anybody be mean or rude. I loved going to Walmart, but I never saw any Walmart behaviour. Maybe Carson, because that was Carson City, Nevada. So maybe in Carson City they're just more well behaved, or perhaps I just didn't see it. What else? So I've got a little YouTube channel that started out. How to explain how it started. I was watching YouTube and I was watching paranormal investigators. And the reason I was doing that was I had lost my son in a car accident. Well, not lost him, he died in a car accident. So I was going through the grieving process, looking for answers, is there a way to communicate with him, that sort of thing. So I was watching a lot of paranormal people. And while doing that, got subscribed to a few channels, made a few friends. And then there was a paranormal, what do you call it? Not conference, paranormal. The thing where people come together in a big, it's got a word. But anyway, there was a paranormal thing going on in Virginia City, Nevada. And I thought, you know what? I've never been out of Australia. I've never done anything. God damn it. I'm going to buy a ticket to this thing. So I bought a ticket convention. I bought a ticket to the convention, not knowing truthfully whether or not I could get there, but saved, and I was working at the time, so I had money I saved, and I ended up coming to America. And when I came to America, the YouTubers that were paranormal investigators took me under their wing and taught me a few tricks, and we went to investigate a few of the haunted places in Virginia City. And then I just thought, coming home to Australia, I'll make a YouTube channel and I'll put my adventures on the YouTube channel, but not to make a YouTube channel, just kind of like to store it all. So that should something happen to me, should I die or whatever, my kids, my grandkids can go onto the YouTube channel, find what I had done and have a bit of a laugh. And that's where it started. And then it just evolved. So it evolved to, I really enjoyed the process of editing and all that. And I'm not brilliant with filming anything. If you take me out and say film that, I'm a shocker. I can't film things. I do a little bit, but I enjoy more so making sort of like little animations and things. But yeah, so that's where I started my YouTube journey, and now it's just evolved. I've gone through a few evolutions. First it was Karen from Australia, then it was Doof Doof Paranormal, and now it's the Karen Show. Because that way, because I don't know about you, Jonathan, I think you're pretty lucky. You seem to steer clear of it, and I do now too. I just try to stay away from it. But the paranormal community per se, like, it can get nasty. It can get really nasty. So I don't like that. I don't see a need for it, to be honest. Fair enough calling out people who might have faked something, but at the end of the day, if you're watching something and it is fake, you've got to educate yourself a little bit yourself. And I think much like you do when you go out, Jonathan, you don't proclaim that what you're getting is absolutely 100% what you think it might be. You don't know, but you certainly don't fake anything. I don't fake anything. And sometimes when I actually find anything, I still make excuses and go, no, it was probably this or probably that. But so now I just find that I'm talk about anything paranormal. The other day I was talking about space. Sometimes we talk because I've got Enzo that's on with me for my lives, and he's pretty scientific minded, so I'll often ask him about things like that, like meteors and what's happening, UFOs. We talk about all sorts. But yes, so that's me in a nutshell. Did I explain it? Oh, I'm a mother, 6 children, 5 still alive, 1 gone. And love animals. I'm a bit crazy for animals, and but yeah, I love America too. And if I could, I would live there. That's how much I like it. Australia's great too, but America's pretty darn good. It's a good country. Well, it's getting there anyway.
So when you going to come to North Carolina?
Well, I would love to come to North Carolina. To be honest, I probably drove through it. I don't know. When I was there, oh golly, time flies, doesn't it? Was it May last year? Maybe it was May last year. I think it was the year before. I did a road trip, and we went from Tulsa to Canada, but in between from Tulsa we went to Memphis. From Memphis we went to Kentucky. From Kentucky, I can't remember. Just drove through all these places, and I remember looking at names and thinking, oh my God, like we drove through a place called Hazard. And I've gone, Hazard, that's the song. Where's the bridge? We went through West Virginia because there's a hospital there called the old hospital on College Hill or something. Yeah. It's a hospital. Went there. Where else did I go? Waverly Hills.
Yeah.
Victorium. Oh, it's no longer there. Thank God they knocked it down. The Bobby Mackey music, whatever it was. Oh, what a dump. It was well due. It was way past being knocked down. It was really, to be honest, it was probably very dangerous. But anyway,
Yeah.
it's gone now. I'm not sure what they're doing there. I don't know what they're doing. But yeah, so I could have possibly driven through Carolina. I think I was close to Tennessee. I don't know. I went to all these places and can't remember. It was just like, it's a bit of a mind boggle because I can't really remember. And then I got up to Canada and went to Niagara Falls and then came all the way back. And there's, I can't remember where it is. It's somewhere near Tulsa. It might be Oklahoma. Hang on, let me remember. Where did we go? Oh, what was that show on TV about? There's a place they made a TV show about it, but it was all about drugs or something, and it was a cartel. Ozarks, the Ozarks.
Yeah.
That's the other thing because I'd seen the TV show Ozarks, and we're driving through the Ozarks, and I'm like, oh my God, it's the Ozarks. But yeah, somewhere near the Ozarks is at Titanic exhibition where it looks like the ship, like they've got the ship on the outside, and you go in and they've got the big staircase and everything. Brilliant. So that's what I remember. And so I don't think I ever went through Carolina, but I'd love to because the southern states were my favorite driving through. Went to a few Cracker Barrels. I went to one in Louisville, because when I went in and I said Louisville, and the guy goes, no, the guy behind the counter in the Cracker Barrel, there goes, no, he said, that's not how you say it. And I said, it's not. He goes, no, ma'am. And he kept getting me. I still don't know to this day if I say it correctly, but it was, I mimic him because it was like Louisville. And so it's not Louisville or Louisville, it was Louisville. But yeah, I loved it. People made me laugh, and I don't know, maybe it's because I'm Australian and they weren't used to the accent, and so therefore that might have been why they were friendly. Maybe if I had have been another fellow American, maybe you're really all rude in retrospect, but you're just nice to Australians. But yeah, no, I had a ball. But I'll get there one day and go. And you were saying before that Gizmo was out in the truck waiting to go on an investigation.
I can mention that. Let's go get ready, and he'll be out in the truck waiting on me.
Yeah, I to anyone watching, when you watch Jonathan investigate, his takes his little gizmo. I was telling Jonathan when I was in America last time, I asked Jonathan, where did you get Gizmo? You know, hey, living my best life. You're familiar to me. Yeah, I was watching him and I thought, where'd you get that gizmo? And he said it was from Walmart. So I went to Walmart and I had this ongoing battle. Gizmo was never there. And every time I'd ask the guy in the tech area, where are the gizmos? Oh, we just sold the last one. Or the fellow actually purchased one himself. And I said, no. I said, I'm from Australia. I can't come here every day. I said, I'm going home soon. I need a gizmo. I never got a gizmo. And they were cheap enough. But, yeah, so my next, if I ever want a gizmo, I'm going to have to get him on Amazon or have someone in America get one and then post it. But then that's stupid because the postage from America to Australia is just stupid. So there you go. But yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, I talk a lot.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Have you actually done some investigations?
Yeah, a few. Initially, the first few were because I had no experience. I don't even watched people investigate, so I had no experience per se, but went along with others. So my first investigation was the Washoe Club in Virginia City.
Yeah.
Mackey Mansion in Virginia City. And then while I was there, I was staying in what they call the Miners' Cabin, which is in Gold Hill, just outside of Virginia City. And when I say outside, like 10 minutes in the car, 5 maybe.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to be haunted as well. All of those places have been seen on that show, Ghost Adventures. So I thought, I'm going to go check them out. Nothing happened. But anyway, it was fun because I can say I was there. Yeah. So they were my first ones. And then when I came back to America again, went to Waverly Hills Sanatorium, the old hospital on College Hill. What's his name? Bobby. What? That. What I said it before. Bobby Mackey's or whatever his name is, the music place. I've gone blank. Where else did we go? Octagon Hall, which is also in Kentucky. That Octagon Hall. If anything's haunted, that out of all the places I've been, spooky as they feel and whatnot, Octagon Hall. Maybe because of the history, because it was a Civil War home or built just before the Civil War, but a lot of soldiers died in the basement of that house being, operated on or just having whatever, a lot of dead bodies buried there and limbs. So it has the Civil War component to it, the history involved with that, and the house itself, that you walk into that place and it just reeks energy. That's just energy. Are they ghosties? Is it spirits? I don't know. Maybe just buildings can contain energy, but if you ever get a chance to go there, and it's a reasonable price. They don't overcharge. Do you know what I mean? And you're there for all night until the sun comes up in the morning. They don't kick you out at 4 a.m. like they do at Waverly Hills Sanatorium. And they don't charge. I can't remember what it was back then. I think it was like $150.
Yeah.
American. But yeah, really, really interesting. I really enjoyed that. I did an episode on it and a history thing on it, and yeah, just really, really enjoyed that. So investigated there. Where else have I been? Well, I've been to England now, and I investigated the ancient Ram Inn. I went to a few castles that were long gone, like just the ruins of the castle, but some parts of the castles that I visited were still you could go into. Yeah, I've done a lot of investigating. The only time I've ever had anything truthfully odd that I've caught, oh, it's not true, I've caught a couple, but the one where I'm absolutely convinced I don't know what the explanation can be. So like other things I've caught and found and thought, oh, could have been this, could have been that. But at Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and if you go to my channel, you'll find it in shorts or whatever. I put a short there. Walking down that tunnel, the chute, they like to call it the death chute, but walking down the tunnel, we got to the bottom of that. We were doing an investigation. Coming back up, nobody was recording, but I was, because I wanted to record how long in real time for people watching it took for me to walk from the bottom up to the top of the chute. Right? So I'm filming and I'm like, it's steep and I'm puffed out. So part of it, I sort of hummed a little bit, and then I was quiet. I shut up. I was out of breath. I just shut up. But then you hear a humming. You hear someone else hum. And in the moment, and I could kick myself knowing what I know now, but because I was not an experienced investigator, but I was apparently with experienced investigators. So I kind of kicked them a bit for not thinking that themselves, but I heard the humming in my ear, and I did get it on the phone, but I heard it. It was audible. And I remember thinking, and I turned to the lady that was with me, and I said, was that you? Were you humming too? To which I got a, huh? No. And I went, oh. And she was the only lady. There was myself, that lady, her husband, and another fellow. And it wasn't a man, I couldn't work it out. And it felt like, although I asked her, was it her? The humming felt like it came off to my side, like someone was just there. And I couldn't work it out for the life of me. And then I dismissed it because I thought, well, they didn't hear it. Maybe I was hearing things. Maybe it's an echo, whatever. But yeah, and it was months later. that I bothered. I'm shocking like this. Months later, I was going through all the stuff at Waverley to put an episode together, and I watched that bit of footage, and I had my headphones on, and I'm watching the footage just back thinking, oh, yeah, I remember that. And sure enough, there is humming. There is humming. And it wasn't me. And I've gone, oh, my God. And I've replayed it. And I'm like, oh, my God, I actually caught something. So I absolutely heard it with my own ears in the moment. I absolutely caught it on my phone. Do I know 100% certainty it wasn't the lady that was with me, even though I asked straight away in the moment? She said no. I have to go with that because I don't think it was her. She would have known if she had just hummed.
Yeah.
I mean, she would. And so far as it being a man, no, because it's a female sounding hum.
Yeah.
So what did I catch? I don't know. Did I catch some sort of spirit there being a mimic? Was it just some kind of funny thing? It wasn't an echo because when you listen back, it's too long between.
Yeah.
So too between when I actually heard it, and so it wasn't an echo. The only other, and there was no one else. We were the only 4 people in, apart from the boy that was somewhere over in security. We were the only people there that night. So it was not contamination. So the only other thing, being a skeptic, is that it was her, and she, for whatever reason, chose to say, no, it wasn't me humming, but I don't think so. But the thing that makes me cranky is when I look back at it, if someone said that to me now with my knowledge of investigating, if someone said, was that you humming? I would have said, no. Why? What did you hear? I would have said, what? No, what did you hear? And if they had said, well, I was humming, and then I heard humming, I would have said, right, shh, everybody quiet.
Yeah.
Right, hang on, let's try it again. Let's see if we get in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's unfortunate that it didn't happen. And look, I've got a tendency to rub some people the wrong way. So maybe they'd had enough of me by that time, because I talk. So if I'm somewhere in a haunted place, I'll talk out loud to whatever might be listening, be it the walls, or be it the mice in the walls, or be it a raccoon in the roof. I'll talk out loud and hope that somebody might, if it's a spirit, maybe they'll feel comfortable, much like you do, because I've watched you. You sit there and you just chat away and talk. So I kind of think if it's a spirit, if it's a deceased person, no matter who it is, really, I think speaking and being a bit relaxed and putting yourself, like, not just going and going, who's there? And sort of demanding things. Just have a conversation, just talk out loud, and when they're ready, they'll interrupt you. And that's what but so that's probably, out of all my investigations, the only time I've ever got anything I really can't explain away. I mean, apart from that's the only obvious answer, that it was her and she didn't admit it or didn't realize. But that could be the only thing. But other than that, if it wasn't her, then I don't know what the hell that was.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yes, I have investigated and I do enjoy it. I like going on my own normally, or with only one other person.
Yeah.
In your instance, if I come to Carolina, I'll go with you and your dad and you, for sure. But yeah, but yeah, so I have, and I like it. I find it relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, just nice and quiet. And unless I remember watching you one day, what were you doing? You were walking back to your car or something. Something scared the hell out of you. It was a scream. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Holy crap. I was watching that, and that was a scream. That was either someone playing with you off in the bushes, like screaming really loud. I've heard some animals. There are some animals that can make that noise, like a screech owl or a barn owl or something. But that sounded really terrifying, like someone was being attacked. That was not nice.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
And the funniest thing about that is that we was out there at pitch dark. You couldn't see inch past your nose without any kind of a light. And we didn't see no light. And if they walked in them woods, they would walk into a tree with no light, and how he got, if it was a person, how'd they get on one side of the road, on the other side, without giving out breath, because the second scream sounded just exactly like the first scream.
Yeah, and that's that area near the bridge where you
Yeah,
go. Is that where it
yeah,
was? And I remember you telling me the history of that the history of that place isn't too good. So it's a bit spooky to think that somehow, no matter what it is, if it's a spirit or if it's some strange time warpy, cross dimensional, whatever we think it is, it's still spooky to think that in a moment there is somebody screaming for help or
yeah.
whatever, and there's nothing you can do
And
because it's a memory. It's pretty spooky.
we got it. We got it narrowed down. We think the two pictures that we've caught was the killer, and we
Ooh.
think the sound is the woman that he actually gotten rid of. So here,
Yeah, the victim.
have you seen the pictures?
No,
Here,
why haven't I seen the pictures?
there's the picture. You can see the eyes,
Oh,
and you can see the nose,
yep.
and if you look at the top up there, you can see the horns.
Actually, yeah. When you put it like that, it looks like a little devil, doesn't it?
And here it is cleaned up.
Oh,
And
yep.
and the one night, this has been about 2 weeks ago, you can see me standing in front of my truck, and if you look behind me, you'll see two little red eyeballs that's in the,
Oh,
and here it is close up.
well, there's you. Oh, just there, sort of in the middle of the shot.
Yeah, you can see the two little eyeballs. I just drawed it up closer so you can see it.
Now, it wasn't Gizmo running away on you, was it?
No, he was still sitting on the bridge.
Oh dear, I do like Gizmo. Uh, yeah, no, it's interesting. There's things happen. I've gotten to a point for myself where I've gone to all of these famously haunted places.
Yeah,
But what happens because I do research on the history of these famously haunted places,
yeah,
a lot of the stories that go along with them, with those places, are just not true.
yeah,
Uh, just not true. So I get confused because I think these places, in themselves, the history alone warrants the fact that there could be a residual haunting, or there could be someone haunting. Like there could be, but because they make up these lies, and that's all they are. Um, people like people go there expecting to see the lies, and oftentimes nothing happens. Like in all those places I went to, um, apart from the singing, I'd like to call it the singing ghost,
yeah,
there were things happen, like odd things happened, coincidental things happened. But so far as in connection with the stories that are told about these places, nothing happened. So, like one of there goes my chihuahua. One of the places that in the Waverly Hills Sanatorium, that it drives me crazy. I really did a deep dive into the history of the Waverly Hills Sanatorium
yeah,
when it was an actual sanatorium, when people were going there for the tuberculosis, although people were dying, it wasn't a sad place to be. Everyone, survivors from that era, um, um, like survivors and people from that era still say they have fond memories
yeah,
because they made friends, and yes, some of their friends died, but there was like it was a self-contained town. They had
yeah,
a cinema, they had like everything was there to look after these people. So it wasn't there was nothing horrendous. Even the operations that were done on people to help them survive the tuberculosis,
yeah,
nothing was horrendous. Nothing was torturous like an asylum where they actually did do the bad things to people.
yeah,
Um, so that part, the only bad thing that ever really happened at Waverly Hills Sanatorium was when it became years later became an aged care facility. So they had people with dementia and whatnot living there, and they got closed down because they were doing the wrong thing by the aged care people, like the dementia patients. So that's when horrible things were done, like people were left in their room locked up in their own feces and God knows. So that is the only time really, really bad things happened there. Even the bodies being taken down the chute that they refer to, the death chute, that was the only way, well, not the only way, that was staff's way of coming in and out of the building for work. It was a thoroughfare. So deliveries, food deliveries, everything come up and down that chute. And of course, when people passed away, they were held for a short time in the little morgue that's there. But then the guys from out of town, like in town, would come and collect the bodies for burial and take them away. So even making more of the death chute, it's just a play. It's just to make it. If they only talked about it properly and, in my opinion, with respect, then whatever is there might, if there is anything there, might be more forthcoming. But yeah, so that's what I mean. Like I do research, and I love the research part of what I do, and that's why a lot of times some of my episodes are not necessarily on places that I've been, although most of them are, but some aren't. I'll do an episode and do a back history on something. But it is unfortunate that when you do a deep dive into the history of a lot of these places, the stories that are being presented by the owners of the property are fiction, absolute fiction, or based slightly on something that happened there, but blown out of proportion, and I've learned in the times too, because I've been to Virginia City and I love Virginia City. That's probably where I'd like to live if I came to America. But I haven't been to Carolina yet, so who knows? But yeah, the thing I find in Virginia City, they have legend. So I would get really annoyed because I'd go to places like the Mackey Mansion.
Yeah.
And they say, "Oh, that's Mrs. Mackey's room," and whatever. Mrs. Mackey never lived in the house.
Yeah.
She absolutely hated Virginia City. She was out of there into San Francisco before. So you listen to the stories, and people who don't research listen to the stories and go with that narrative. And therefore, when they get evidence, or they think they get evidence, they base it and think, "Oh, that's Mrs. Mackey doing that," or "That's one of the children doing that." And it's a bit sad because if they actually knew the history of the place, they'll probably realise I can't be any of them because none of them lived here. So it has to be something different. But I have learned, let them have their legend because it gets people into the town. Let them have the bullshit stories. People who really want to know the truth will research it, and people that are happy to go with the scary narrative of demons and all that sort of thing, they'll just go along with the story. So I kind of now try to settle myself. I used to get really angry about it, but I just sort of whatever, if you want to believe it. But yeah, so I don't know. Do you do much research for anything you do? Or, I mean, I know you obviously know about the bad things that happened around the bridge, but what do you think about it? Do you think if you go somewhere, do a bit of research or not worry so much about it?
Yeah. I do research on a lot of my places that I go to, except for the woods that I don't know anything about. We just go there to just have fun, me and my dad. But just like the Trivet Clinic, I did do a bunch of research, and I did find out that there's a doctor that his last name was Myers, same as my name, and I would never expect a Myers being a doctor. But
Yeah, that's not. I wonder, did you ever figure out if he was actually a relative?
no, I don't think he was. He was too smart if he was a doctor, so he wouldn't be none of my relatives.
Don't put yourself down.
But
Well, yeah.
he was like a uh, dentist, and if he didn't have no dentist work to do, he was a veterinarian, so he worked on animals too.
Fair enough. Oh well, that was nice. I think. But yeah, I don't know. It's funny. America, it's like England. Australia's old, but we're not that old. We're only a couple, we'll be 300 years old. I'm trying to remember, 1770 something. but yeah, so we like Captain Cook and all that sort of thing. So it's an old. The country itself is ancient, and goodness knows what you could find. But so far as westernized and whatever, we're not as old as America or obviously England. So England and America, when you go around and look at everything, there's so much more history based places there. Like you can look at so much, like there's the Indian, like when the Indians were there, like all the mounds and all that sort of thing, caves and stuff. And we have that stuff here with our Aboriginal people. But yeah, and then you move on from that, and you move to when the Westerners came, and then you move to the Civil War and all that sort of thing. And so nearly every town you go through in America, there's something really old there, and such a fascinating history. The country has such a fascinating history, which America should be proud of because it's a good history. Like bad things happen. Bad things happen in every country. Bad things happen. So there are things that ain't so good. But on the whole, so many interesting things to see in America and England. I think so far from an investigative point of view, when I was in England, the places I went to, I felt quite safe and all that sort of thing. I tended to stay away from the main cities in England, which at the moment aren't very nice. But the little townships outside and all the places where all these interesting things were absolutely beautiful, just as you imagine it would be in England, like the pretty flower pots and friendly people. And I did go to London. I was there for a week, probably more, and wow, very, very interesting place. Again, while I was there, I managed to stay away from any trouble that had been happening, and my opinion is it's a beautiful, beautiful country. And America, same. But I think I'll always have, and I don't know why. Maybe a previous life I was American, but I've just got a real soft spot for America. I just adore America and most Americans. Like I say, no one's ever been rude to me, and I don't know. I just think it's such a beautiful country, beautiful to the eye, especially when you're driving, like around where you are, through Kentucky and all those southern states. The beauty of the countryside, like just beautiful. I never got used to seeing those poor, what do you call it, opossums?
Oh yeah.
Quite a few dead little opossums, dead, like coyotes, like you see in Australia, dead kangaroo or dead wombat on the road. So I suppose it shouldn't be a shock. You don't have kangaroos and wombats, but you have, wolves and all that sort of deer. We have deer in some parts here too, but up in the mountains where they've been let go for hunters and whatnot. But and opossums, aren't they cute? And now I've seen footage of opossums when they play dead. And you think they're dead. So now I know where playing possum comes from. But I don't know. I'm rambling now. But I just wish they could invent some kind of way to travel really, really fast. So instead of being in Australia talking to you now, I could just go, yeah, I'll be there in a minute. Put the kettle on and bring me up one of those and get Gizmo out the truck. And then we could just sit there and have the chat. And I'm assuming everyone that's in the chat too are probably used to seeing Jonathan drive to work. That used to I enjoy that. I enjoy watching because the way you set the camera. And in my head, I'm like right now, you're driving down that road, and I'm looking at that road in another country, just kind of the same as what I would be if I was behind, like sitting in the passenger seat. I'm yet to see. Has it ever happened when you've been driving to work and doing one of those that something's run out in front of the road in front of you? I'm always fascinated that nothing happens, but it has.
Yeah, it has. Not too long ago, I hit a deer when I was
Oh
live.
no!
Yeah.
Oh no! How was the deer? Did it live?
He no, he didn't live.
Oh,
It was
poor
right
dear.
before Christmas.
Oh,
So Christmas, Santa Claus didn't come see my house. So he only had 8 deer instead of 9.
oh no! So long as it wasn't Rudolph.
It
Rudolph.
was small one.
I I have to ask a question though. When you hit a deer in America and it's dead, are you allowed? This really sounds terrible, so apologies. But roadkill. It's a deer. That's venison. That's good
Yeah,
meat. Do you actually? But would it be safe? I guess it would, because if you went hunting and shot the deer and slaughtered shot it, and then butchered it or
yeah.
whatever. I would assume, like any wild animal, it could have some kind of disease, and you might not be able to eat the meat. I don't know, but I guess it's better than putting it to waste. I mean, if it's already dead,
Yeah, the wolves and coyotes and the foxes. Yeah,
oh, well, then they can have a
yeah,
feed. Just move it out the way and let the wild animals. Yeah, because I don't know if I could, if I was starving, if I was absolutely starving, and I would have to be starving, I maybe, but yeah, I don't know. I think if I ever lived in a time where we were running out of food, just couldn't. I could, like, I've got 4 chickens. I couldn't kill one of my chickens. They go out there. I love my
yeah,
chickens. I go out and they run around at my feet when I'm weeding, and they and one jumps up on my knee. There's no way I could, just out of desperation for meat, kill my chicken. Um, I would just, I don't know. I think I'd end up starving to death because I just couldn't do it. I just, but I plant vegetables. I've got vegetables. I've got some tomatoes growing in my backyard. That's all at the moment. But I do, sometimes I grow cauliflower and broccoli, cucumbers, zucchinis. They're the kind of veggies I
yeah.
like. But yeah. See all the random things I can talk about,
Oh, you
Jonathan?
where anywhere in the world that you could travel to and it's already paid for you, where would you like to go? To investigate or just go hang out or whatever?
The White
The
House.
White House.
I would love to be in the White House, because the building, not the politicians, the building. When I did my history, and like, I'd never realized that burnt to the ground, and then they had to rebuild it and stuff. So that, and all the tunnels that run under it. Oh, I'd love to have that. Oh, I would love to run around in the White House and just go to all the rooms, especially Lincoln's
Yeah,
room, and go to, like, and I'm sure there's rooms in that building that the general public doesn't know about, that probably still exist, like a time capsule, like that may have been still contain items and things, which they must, because every time a president comes in, there's an area somewhere that they can go to and pick and choose what they want to put in the Oval
yeah,
Office, like paintings and portraits and things. So there has to be a room with lots of artifacts
yeah.
in it. Or the Smithsonian, the Smith. I can't say it properly, but the White House would be on number
Yeah.
one. If someone said, "Here you go, we've paid for your airfare, we've paid for your accommodation, and you've got the White House to yourself for a week,"
A week.
oh, a week might be too long. At least 2 days. I'd love to walk around that place. I just think, because of the history involved,
Yeah.
because of the history and what you might find.
Vicky says it's
Well,
haunted, and it is haunted. I've done quite a bit of research on that. They said one of the presidents opened up the door to the hallway, and they said they saw Lincoln standing there. So,
yeah. I've heard that. I've heard that President Lincoln haunts there. I can't see the same. I don't know what I'm looking at. I mustn't be able to see that. Oh, it probably would have paid if I looked over on the YouTube, and then I'd see the chat there. But yeah, if anyone asks me a question, because I can see the chat on the little window here. But
yeah.
But there you go. So if anyone said hello to me in the YouTube chat, apologies, because I'm not looking at it. I'm looking at the little chat off to the side of where I'm talking. So oops. But yeah, no, I've heard it's very haunted. But I'm trying to think. Lincoln didn't die there. He died at his house, I'm pretty sure, or somewhere. He died. He didn't die in the White House, but that doesn't like anything. I think if you're a living person, if someone said to me now, Karen, if you die tomorrow, what's your heaven? I know where my heaven is. It's not here.
Yeah.
I know where my heaven is, and it's a point in time. So that would be my heaven. Yeah. So I wonder if like Lincoln, he was assassinated where he was assassinated, and I don't. Now I really sound stupid. I'm pretty sure he didn't die boom on the spot. They took him back, and he died shortly after in bed. That's my understanding. So if I were Lincoln, it would depend on where my happy place was. So maybe his happy place was the White House. And maybe, or maybe, if you want to go into all the time slips and stuff, maybe they're not seeing a ghost. Maybe they're just seeing a fraction in time. And maybe they're actually seeing Lincoln walk down the hallway, but they're seeing like it's not a ghost, it's him. But it's like a time crossover or something. I watch too much Doctor Who, but actually I don't watch Doctor Who anymore. I used to watch Doctor Who. I loved it when David Tennant was in it. But yeah, and the old ones. But yeah, so that would probably be one place. What about you?
Me, I don't know exactly, but I got several places. I want to go to the Stanley Hotel in Colorado. I want to go there so bad and just stay there for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, yeah, I don't. I know through watching different people go there and then searching the actual history on things. But it's certainly an interesting place, like the little tunnels underneath and all that sort of thing. I'm pretty sure Ghost Adventures went there once, and Ghost Hunters went there, and then you have a whole heap of other people go. But I'd like to go. I would like to go there too for that reason, because of its connection to the writer, but also just because when you look at pictures of it, photos of it, gee, the area is so beautiful. Like, it's really pretty. I wouldn't want to go in there in winter though. That'd be way too cold.
I would like to.
Way too cold.
I would love to go to winter times. I want to see the snow on the red roof. That's what I want to
go. Well, I suppose you live in Carolina. It snows as well. I'm guessing. I guess it snows everywhere in America sometimes, doesn't it? Except Arizona. I don't know, but I suppose if you're used to the snow and the cold, I'm not. So I like when I was in Virginia City. It was November. It was just I left just before the beginning of December, and it had been snowing. I've seen snow. We get it here in Australia, up in our mountains, skiing. Like, we've got good ski resorts and stuff. But I had never been where there is no snow and it started to snow. And I've never walked in the snow, like as it's snowing. And when I was in Virginia City, it had just started to snow. So I walked out of the Piper's Opera House, and that I was talking to inside the Piper's Opera House. As I walked out, I've gone, oh, what's that? And I've looked up and I've seen the snow coming, and I've run back in. I've gone, it's snowing. And the ladies went, yeah, like they were like, oh yeah, I know, it's the start. And I'm like, but it's snowing. And then I realized, yeah, you see it all the time. I don't. That's why I'm so excited. So they must have thought, you're an idiot. Like, so what? It's snow. But that was nice. And then and then that's when it started, and it was bloody cold. And my friend that I was staying with, she had to put socks over the taps. Water didn't freeze, and then the horses had water, but we had to go out every morning and knock their water thing over because it was covered in like an inch of ice. Like, I think if I ever moved to America, I could live in Virginia City while at the warm months, but then when it got cold, I'd have to go to maybe Florida. I don't think I'm not great with the cold. The only thing about the cold, though, I guess, if you've got a nice fireplace and
Yeah.
lots of rugs, don't have to go outside when it's snowing, then I guess, that could
Yeah.
be good, be fun. But yeah, but I'm a big kid.
When you was investigating and paranormal stuff on these places that you've been to, what was the equipment that you used that you couldn't wait to pick up to keep?
Well, firstly, when I first started back to America for that May trip where we went around, I brought myself. I always use my camera, just my Samsung camera, a phone. But I bought myself a little camera, which has probably still got stuff on it, and I haven't looked. But I brought your thing. What are your EMF meter? I brought a teddy bear that you could touch, and if you touched it, lights up. Yeah. What else did I have? Oh, see, they all had the real expensive stuff. I just brought little bits and bobs. But to be honest, now when I go investigating, as a bit of fun, I find it's more visual. So if people that put together an actual episode, like when you watch it do it all the time, they have the REM pod. They have, a Boo Bear that lights up if someone touches it. They have all these things and these gadgets. And as interesting as the gadgets are, they're not actually reliable. Like a REM TV radio can kick them off, which I never realised, but there you go, it can. So you can be somewhere. And actually when we were at Bobby Mackey's, there you go, I said it again, Bobby Mackey's music, whatever. There was a big train parked out the back, and every time the guy used his CB radio, the REM pod went crazy.
Yeah.
And so, my equipment was pretty basic and still is. So now, honestly, when I go, I'll still take the EMF, and that's mainly because I'll use it the way it was meant to be used, just to check electrical outlets. So they're doing something, I'll go, oh yeah, look, yeah, that's still live or whatever, or there's a signal in the wall there, so be aware. I don't use cat balls. I did, but I don't, because again, too unreliable. So equipment wise, I really don't use anything anymore. I'll take my phone to record or visual. And I haven't used it. I know a lot of other people, but I think sometimes it's more it's more a way of if you're putting together, when they're putting together an episode, it's far more exciting. So touch the REM pod if you're here, then off goes the REM pod. So it's a visual thing. And look, I don't mind having some equipment with me, because sometimes it does go off and it's really weird. Like that, why would that be, especially an EMF thing? But mind you, I was really stupid when I was at Waverley Hills. Again, a newbie, a beginner. I had messaged my children before I went in, but forgot to turn airplane mode on. So we were in the morgue, and the EMF thing's going crazy. Every time we asked a question, it go crazy. Turned out, idiot me, it was messages coming through on my phone that were interfering with the EMF, with the meter. As soon as I turned that off, that stopped. So simple things like that. So yeah, equipment wise, I don't know. I know you like to take gizmo. I would love to take, if I had a gizmo, I'd take a gizmo. I've got a Boo Bear. So sometimes if I'm going to film something, then I probably guess I would take those things. But when I'm most places, I sit quietly by myself and I talk out loud to whomever I think might be there. And I give them, sometimes I do come up further and shut up. And then that gives, if they're time to maybe say or do something. I was at the Washoe Club in Virginia City, and you hear so many people say, "Oh, it was so scary," and but they're not there alone. They're there with people. I was there alone all night, And I went into the actual Washoe Club part where there's no electricity, there's no lights. And I sat on the stairs and I went up to the level where, all these bad, scary things are supposed to happen. And I'm really disappointed because nothing scary happened. And the ghosts didn't talk to me. And I'm like, fair income. I'm here all the way from Australia. You reckon, ghosty, you reckon you could take a few minutes just to do something? But no, nothing happened. But that's okay. But I did watch an episode of this. Oh, those boys, they're young boys. I haven't watched them for ages. But Sam and Colby, I think their name is, and they've got a show, and they go into these places and they do 3-minute dares or something where you've got to be somewhere 3 minutes by yourself.
Yeah.
And they did it in the Washoe Club, and you've got to be 3 minutes by yourself in this room. And I'm like, you wimps. I was there all night and nothing happened. And I'm a woman by myself. So, yeah. The only people, actually, have you ever watched a show called, it's called Make It. It's two guys that go in and investigate places, and they do that. They go into places for a good time by themselves. I'm trying to think, Ryan Vergara and I've gone blank. The ghost something. I've gone blank, but they're the only people I watch because they go into places. Not the only people I watch you, but I mean the only people mainstream that put a lot into their production and take all the bells and whistles that I watch because they don't fake anything, they don't proclaim to find anything, and they're very skeptical. Like they're pretty, they have a bit of a laugh. But yeah, I would prefer to investigate on my own with minimal equipment, except my body, because if there's the odd times that weird things have happened, it's usually me that picks it up, like something just ran down, like, do you know what I mean? Like, something will get really cold, or there's just a feel, like you'll go from feeling, this is a pretty happy place, to all of a sudden, the mood in here has changed. So I go more with using my actual instincts as opposed to equipment. But I do swear that the phone is handy because I don't know how they make them, but the microphone's pretty good.
Yeah.
The microphone picks up things. So, yeah. But you don't use all that much equipment. You use Gizmo and the same thing as me, the EMF thing. What else do you use?
I've got I carry about 2 or 3 cat toys with me. I carry the little REM pod that I built, and I got Gizmo, and I have my SB7 with a speaker and a battery, so my speaker will go. That's all I carry.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all you really need. And actually, for where you go, because you're right out in the middle of nowhere, it would be very, like I said before, CB radio from a truck or whatever can interfere with the REM pod. But where you are, you're right out in the middle of the sticks, highly unlikely because there wouldn't be anything close enough to that. So if you've got anything, that would probably be pretty interesting. That's what I think. But yeah. So, but I haven't been investigating for a while because since I got back from England, lots of at home have been happening. But I'm hoping come maybe June or July, I'll at least go down south to Victoria and go back to one of the asylums that I visited called Beechworth Asylum. So far as coming overseas, I'm going to have to save, and it's probably going to take me a while. I'm not looking at the moment. I think people think I'm too old. They won't give me it doesn't matter. So I've got to put my thinking cap on and think of different ways to earn an income that don't involve working for someone. Or I'm one of those people that I think things happen. What's meant to be is meant to be. So for a reason at the moment, I'm not meant to have a job. And the minute the right time comes up and the right job comes up, it'll find me. Because I think I'm too young to not be working. Technically, I'm not. Could say, I retire, but working, it keeps you sane, I think.
Me and my wife will be going to the UK next year, so
Ooh.
We're going down.
Where about?
We're going to London to hang out too, but we're going to go stay with the Spirit Brothers UK.
Oh, there you go. Well, then they'll show you places for sure. Yeah, London's really nice. I enjoyed London. When I was there, I stayed. Did you stay, Karen? Westminster, in a little hotel. But I walked. I was within walking distance of the theatres and trains. One thing I'll give London, England in general,
Yeah.
if you want to go somewhere and you don't have a car, you don't need a car. Their public transport is perfect, great, terrific.
Yeah.
Like where, anyways, and I enjoyed Walden most anyway. But yeah, London was good, and just depending upon what's happening in the country at the time, just stay away from places that the locals say stay away from. I'll tell you what is interesting. If the Jack the Ripper thing, I was darn sure that I wasn't going to go on any Jack the Ripper tour, okay, because I thought it very, very disrespectful. I was lucky, though, that I got someone to take me. Well, it was a group thing, but we were lucky that we got someone to take us that was respectful.
Yeah.
So it wasn't one of those one ape and a hat and going, this is where she was stabbed to death. That to me is absolutely disrespectful. But the reason I say if you get opportunity to do it, and don't eat. If you do, don't eat, because when you go on the tour, you go down a main street which is called Brickworks, from memory, Brickworks, and there's tons of restaurants there, like Indian food and different smell. But I'd already eaten dinner, and they give you like. So I would just say if you want a good feed. But yeah, go on one, because what I found interesting about that, being interested in the case, when you watch documentaries on Jack the Ripper and when you watch anything, you don't actually get a feel for, just even though they show you maps and things, sometimes it doesn't really relay to your brain until you walk those streets, just how close all those murders were. Like, close. I'm talking 5 minutes away from each other in any direction. So for me, it was really interesting to walk past. Like, most of the places are gone, but the spot is still there, if that makes sense. So they take you on a little walk and take you around and show you, plus you see other things that are interesting. But I was glad I did it, because in my mind, that sort of solidified more for me that whoever did that, it was definitely someone there locally, because of the walk. It was lived local and committed the murders. Who it was, I'm still not convinced. The person who took me on the fellow called Russell, he's actually been on a lot of television in the UK and Australia. I don't know about America, but he had the shawl was found with the body of one of the victims, and he had it DNA tested, and long story, he believes he knows who the murderer was, and he's named the murderer, and it's gone through this whole thing. He was the one who took us on the tour, and I do remember asking him at the time, now I remember, because it was years ago that this came out, DNA thing, but other scientists said that the DNA tested correctly, or there was a mistake in the sequencing. And I asked him about that, but he either pretended not to hear me, or he just deliberately didn't answer my question. So I've read his book and everything, and I've looked at it again, and I'm still not convinced, because there's too many, for my liking, too many holes in the story, from where they say they found the to now. Like, so I don't know. I don't know what the answer is there, but I'm not convinced that it is who it is. I will ever know who did it. Hang on. Read them. Oh, I can see something about Raggedy Ann in there. I can people Raggedy Ann. Is that what they're looking at?
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
tell us, tell us a little bit about where we can find you on social medias and stuff. How do we get to your link for your YouTube channel to watch your shows? When do you go live and stuff?
Oh, well, I did go live yesterday. Have you got me back? Have you got me back? Having
Yeah.
issues with my.
Yeah.
I try to
Okay.
go live every weekend with Enzo, and we'll talk about what you and I are talking today. And I've got Instagram, I've got X, I'm not on that all that much. But that's how
Yeah.
people can contact me through the Facebook. But yeah, so and I'm doing the finishing touches on my episode for the Ancient Ram in. So hopefully I'll have that up and running channel either tonight, which will be tomorrow your time or whatever. But yeah, so that's basically it. I took a break for a long time from my channel because there was a lot going on here at home, and I had to be a mum first. So I'm trying to get back into it now. We'll get there. It's slow going. Some days, I don't know about you, but some days I just can't be bothered.
Yeah.
Some days it's like, I can't be bothered. And it's not because I don't want to see any regular faces or anything like that. It's just like, I'm tired. But I'm trying to get back into it. I still have a lot of footage from my trip to England to look at. And to be honest, my trip to England are weeks, and it's like a blur.
Yeah.
I can barely remember it. I remember it, but it's a blur. And when I was looking back at some of the footage for the Ancient Ram in, I went, oh, that's right. It was like, oh, that's right. I did that. Like I've just forgotten. I've still got a lot of that to go through. So a lot of the ancient castles that I visited, there's footage from those, stories and backgrounds through that. I went to Wales, Cardiff, then went up to Scotland, went to see Loch Ness. I was there at Loch Ness a day after the ship that I was actually on, the ship that took me out on Loch Ness. It was a day after they had been interviewed by the news and everything because they picked up something on their radar underneath the ship, which was massive. And still don't, well, I guess they didn't say it was Nessie. They said, well, it's massive and it's alive and it ain't a fish because it's way too. So they were interviewed on the telly back then. And when you go to Loch Ness, actually, you can't see. It's not like might have there or here in Australia where you can kind of, if you're on a boat, you might be able to see a little bit down into the water before it looks like mud.
Yeah.
But Loch Ness looks like mud at the top. You can't see anything. That's what they said. Even if you go down in one of those little submersibles, like the little submarines, you can't see anything. It's just mud.
Yeah.
So the only way that you can see anything is with radar. But yeah, so it's certainly interesting, Loch Ness. There could be something there. I don't know. Certainly what he showed us on the radar that day, it was massive because he showed us in comparison to an eel or to a fish or to anything, and this was and it moved like it wasn't a stationary object. It took off, it scampered. He said that they also, which sometimes you see strange photos and it looks like something coming up out the water. He said that honestly could be an eel because they have big eels, big eel, big face. He said so it could actually be an eel that some people see coming up. But Loch Ness, if you can get up there, if you can get up to Scotland, you can get the train. You can catch a train up to Scotland. But if you get up there, the Highlands is further again. Like I actually stayed in Edinburgh for a week so that I could catch the train. And I did do a bus tour. That's another thing to recommend if you are there and you do have some time. Have a look at different bus tours that you can go on for the day. Some of them might take you out to Stonehenge. Some might take you up to there's lots of things you can do there, and at least that way you've got someone showing you you much time in these places, but you've got someone showing you and you about the places. So certainly really a lot of fun over there. I think I liked it. But yeah, as I said, I didn't see any of the bad parts. So I don't want to either be anywhere. We've all got our bad countries, the parts that you stay clear of. Does anyone, because again, I can't see the chat, did anyone have any questions for me or anything like that? Because I'm useless and can't see the chat, but probably not. But yeah, they can find me. Sometimes I just do random lives too. So if they go to my channel and subscribe and hit the notification button, if I do go live, so long as YouTube cares to, they might actually let people know I'm live. And normally if I'm up live, I'll talk about what's been happening or whatever. Yeah. So, but that's me in a nutshell. Someone's cooking here, Jonathan. I don't know which child it is that it's in my I can smell, I don't know, sausages. Oh, you don't call them sausages, you call them links. Links. I smell sausages. Oh, you know what I'll show you? Hang on. I'll be right back, okay? So excuse me for a second. You're going to see my bum, but I'll be right back. Watch out, Poppy. Watch out.
So, everybody, this is an awesome show, awesome guest. I really enjoyed having her in here. It is so cool to on the wall. Is it evil?
All right, I think I've still got Sydney in my book. Can you read it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I love. Yeah. What have you got? Oh my God! We're twins. I got this the other. Oh, how weird is that? Oh, ka-ching! That is weird. Yeah, I saw it the other day, and I saw all the recipes in it, and it was online, and I went, "Oh my God!" And all the things like, and I love it's got all the little pictures of the show throughout. Oh my God, you've got it too.
Yeah. He is born in North Carolina.
Yes, Andy Griffith. Yeah. I've got that show. I haven't got it to grab, but I've got it on disc. I've got it on DVD, the whole series. And I sat down one weekend and watched them all back to back. And by the time it was finished, I was so sad and wished that I had a time machine or something to go back and live in that era. I know every era has its bad times, but I just...
When you come to North Carolina, I will take you to these places.
Wow. So there's some things in here.
It's got Andy Griffith's birthplace. It's got the filling station, Wally's filling station. It's got the courthouse up there. It's got the barbershop still up there. The snappy lunch that they talk about. I could take you to Mayberry. I live about probably,
because that's one of my favorite shows, to be honest. Oh wow! Oh, isn't that weird that you've got the same cookbook? Some recipes, because I thought, they've got biscuits and gravy type recipes in there, and cake recipes and things that we don't normally eat here in Australia. And when I saw that, I said, I want it. I did actually kind of buy it initially just so I could have it on the computer, but I thought, no, I want it in hard. I want to, when I'm making a cake or whatever, I want to open up Aunt Bee's book and go to the recipe and cook it. So and I just love how they've called them names like Barney's Hot Plate, chili, and Thelma, and then you've got Virgil's stuff, and roast leg of lamb. Now I do know how to cook a roast leg of lamb. You guys don't have roast meals much in America, do you? Like not so much anymore in Australia, but once upon a time, every Sunday, family came over and you would cook a roast. In America, it's probably you'd have barbecue, but over here, the family had come, you'd stick in a leg of lamb in the oven with potatoes and kind of like a Thanksgiving dinner, but every Sunday. Just no turkey, lamb or beef instead, or chicken. But there you go. There you go. So yeah, that is so funny that you've got that is really funny. And I didn't people that. I just wanted to tell him that I got the book to prove I love America. I got the book and you've got it. That is so weird. That is weird. Ka-ching. But there you go. So that's that. And yeah, so I've got lots of weird.
May's got a question for you.
Yes, that is Elvis. Elvis the pelvis. And just hang on, I'll go backwards. Just there in the picture is a piece of Elvis Presley's hair. Don't ask. But it is. It's got the certificate of authentication. I think the story is that the barber or the person who used to cut his hair kept the hair and then he sold it off. I think that's the story, but I can't remember without pulling it out the frame. But yeah, so yes, that is Elvis. Yeah. Elvis. That's my wall of death, I call it. I've got that's Elvis and his hair. Let me see. Oh, that's just my son. But up at top, I've got in that picture, I've got Sharon Tate, the lady that was murdered, the Manson murders. There's a piece of the fireplace. I've got a piece of the fireplace. I've got Paul Walker, Fast and Furious actor. I've got a piece of the tree that he crashed into. I've got O.J. Simpson's wife, Nicole Simpson, and Ronald Goldman, where they murdered. I've got a piece of the police tape from the murder scene. And the Hindenburg, the humanity, the Hindenburg burning point. I've got a piece of the Hindenburg. I've also got a piece, the Titanic, which I've actually just because I went to a Titanic museum thing. You can't see it. Can you see that? So I put a picture in the frame, and I thought I'll put my little piece of the Titanic with that. So it's it's a coin too. There's a coin in there, a coin from the year the Titanic sank. The wood is from a piece of furniture that was on the Titanic. So not the actual Titanic ship, but a piece of furniture that was, when they went out to get the bodies and stuff, they also got other stuff, and that's what that's from, with a certificate of authenticity. So I have weird things that I collect, and that's mainly what's on my wall there. The picture behind me there that you can't quite see, don't ask why. I was in a secondhand store or antique store, and I was walking past, and there was pictures, and that was in the frame it's in. It was this framed photograph. It's just a little boy, a photo, I want to say circa 1900, maybe 1898, the turn of the century. He's in his little short pants and whatever. And I looked at the picture, and then I walked away because I thought, well, I don't know who it is. It's just a picture of a random child from the turn of the century, but it's an actual real photo. And then I walked away, but something kept bringing me back to it all the time. And I thought, I can't leave you here alone. Like I spoke to the little boy in the photo, I can't leave you here alone. You can come home with me. So I've hung him up on my wall. This is how strange I am. But so I've got a photograph of a little boy from the turn of the century, no idea who he is, hanging on my wall. But that's the sort of thing I do. Or like, I don't know if anyone, I've showed you before, Jonathan, if anyone's familiar with The Shape, he's got a channel. He does a bit of debunking. He does other stuff. But I've got a mask there that he sent me. I've got, what else have I got over there? Tons of stuff. I've got my, I've gone blank. What do you call the people that live in America and don't use anything modern, and they drive around in carts with horses? I've gone blank.
Amish.
Amish. Yeah, I met Amish people when I was in Virginia City. They were on the train, and I got on the train with them. It was a train tour, like the train went through Virginia City down to and Carson and came back. And I was on the train, and I tried not to stare because I didn't want to be rude. But I'm from Australia. We don't have Amish people here. So I bit the bullet, and I went, "Excuse me," and they went, "Yeah." And I said, "I'm from Australia, and it is so cool." And that's what I said to them. I said, "This is cool to me." I said, "You're Amish people, yeah?" And they've looked at me and smiled and went, "Yeah." And I've gone, I said, "How cool." I said, "Awesome." I said, "I know I sound strange." I said, "But like I say, we don't have Amish in Australia." And I said, "So cool to see you in person." And they were really sweet. And then when I went to the antique store where I got my Annabelle doll, there was a couple little statues of Amish people, so I brought them. So I've got my Amish people up on the shelf just there. You can't quite see them. Lots of things. I just collect really weird things, but I like it. One day when I die, my kids aren't going to know what to do with it.
I want me a piece of the Berlin Wall because it came down the year I was born.
Well, it probably wouldn't be hard to get a piece of it. I bet you someone's bloody got it and selling it, because that's what people do. If you're smart and you know something's being demolished of historical value, that's how I got pieces of stuff I've got, because my friend Scott Michaels, he's got a channel, Dearly Departed. Scott that's what he does. He finds out that they're going to demolish places, and he goes there, and as they're doing it, he says, "Hey, can I have such and such?" And oftentimes the people that are wrecking the joint will just go, "Yeah, take it." And so that's where a lot of that stuff comes from. But I'm going to just do where can I get a piece of the Berlin? Probably, maybe there's none of it left. Let's have a look. Well, if it's really what it is, tons of places. I've just Googled it. eBay, but then I don't know, Amazon. Oh my God. Yes, on Amazon, original. Yeah, and it's all in German writing, and it's a piece of something. What's it say? Real piece of the Berlin Wall with certificate of authenticity, authentic historical German artifact, souvenir from Europe, $52 Australian, which would be $25 American.
Yeah.
There you go. Amazon.
I'll have to take a look at that because I want me. It's the reason it is because they took it down when I was born. So that was what, like 80, 81, somewhere in that time frame.
81, yeah. Well, I think so. I remember when it came down. I just don't remember what I was doing.
And I was like probably like that old. You know, I was that old.
What I don't know. What year? November, 9th of November 1989 is when it came down.
I was that old.
Oh,
I grew.
Golly. It's funny. But yeah, well, that's what I mean. Sometimes that other people probably look at me and go, "What piece of that for?" Or "What do you want that for?" I guess the answer to that is just it's kind of like a piece of the past that's I can touch and feel that relates to a time in history no one knows about. So it's a time in history that we come back to, but I can still touch, if that makes sense. So I don't touch Elvis's head. I've got a piece of Elvis. I don't touch any of these things. I've looked at them and handled them. But even the Hindenburg, that was when you go back in time and that event, and if you still even, it gives me goosebumps now watching the footage exploding and hearing the radio time. Oh, the humanity, and he's so upset. That still gives me chills to this day.
Yeah.
And that was a major thing when that happened. And for me to have a piece of it, that of the history,
Yeah.
I guess that's the best way of history, a piece of something that happened in the past.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's how, and like when like with the piece of wood from Paul Walker where his car hit the tree, or the fireplace, like the fireplace was there where they found the bodies, etc. It sounds morbid, but, and it kind of probably is, I don't know, but I put it it's in a frame, you can't see because I'd have to take it off the wall, but I've got a picture of the person. So for Paul Walker, I've got a picture of Paul, I've got a picture of the tree area, but I've also got a picture of his grave, and it's kind of my homage. A little name is Sharon. Like, I visited when I was in America. I went to her graveside. It was just after Mother's Day in America, and I took her flowers and a little Mother's Day trinket, and I put it on a grave, and I sat there for a little while. I don't know. So I've got a picture of her grave, and a stone. So I don't know. It's just my way of, I guess, having a link to the past. I like that. That's just how. As for the police tape from the murder scene of Nicole Simpson, I've got a picture of the grave and whatever. I think that's probably is a bit morbid, but I've got it. So what are you going to do?
I want something other that I probably will never get in my lifetime is a piece of the Twin Towers from New York.
Yeah.
I am a firefighter, and
Ah.
that would be something more sentimental to me than anything in the world. I don't know how to explain that or how to say it. Put it.
No, you don't. You don't. Well, to me, you don't need to, because that's kind of how I feel about the things I have. It's like the things I've got. It's an event that, for whatever reason, I'm intrigued by, interested in, and feel sad by, and so that's my connection to that. Is that you, or
now that's
is that? Oh no, that's a picture of the fireman.
Yeah, but I do have a cool picture of me. You can just barely see me on the back side of the. I'm the one that's got my head laying in the door, not the one you see right here, but you can see my helmet. You see me back here in the very back.
Oh, that's you. I don't think I'm walking into that there, Jonathan. I think I'd be standing back with a very big hose. Did you get that fire put out?
Yeah, that was our training fire. We was training in that. We'll set.
That's all right.
We'll go put it out and go set it back and let it build and go put it out again. This and that, this and that, and this and that. And I can't. I think that in there is the fire that my helmet got burnt on the back.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I have to admit, policemen, all of ambulance drivers, a job so underappreciated, if you ask me. A lot of people just take them for granted and really shouldn't. And police officers, people boo-hoo police officers all the time. Yeah, do that job for a day. Put up with the disrespect. They don't get paid enough.
It's something because that's the fire that we was all sitting inside on our knees, sitting inside before we cut the water on, and it rolled right down our backs. I mean, that's how my helmet got burnt. So
now listen, I've watched back. What was it called? Backdraft with that's a good movie with Kurt Russell and stuff. That's a good movie. That's a very good movie. But I've watched that and thought to myself, yeah, not in a million days, $1 would I be a fire. Like if I had to put a fire out, because obviously yes, but to actually volunteer to be a firefighter, you got to have balls, because that's a I mean, that's a job you can maybe not come home from.
Yeah.
You know, as is being a policeman, same thing. You go out, you don't know what nut job you're going to come across during the day. So any of those jobs that, high respect to anybody, you know. And here in Australia, I think it's probably the same in America for paramedics. Again, another job can be okay, but the things that they have to see and the people that they have to deal with sometimes not you know, takes a special kind of bravery, a special kind of person to be able to do any of those jobs. You know, like I'm a nurse. I'm not nursing now, but I'm a nurse, and from a nurse's, when people get to us at the hospital, they've already been cleaned up quite a significant fair bit. We see, I've seen some horrific things, but the people first, what do you call them? First, the people that get there first, the firefighters, the paramedics, all that, they're the ones that must have the nightmares at night.
Yeah.
With what they see and have to deal with. So yeah, my hat off to anyone. Bless them, you know, because we need them. But yeah, that I understand. You don't have to say why of one of the Twin Towers. Like me, your link to an event did you emotionally, and it's a tangible. It's a I can feel it piece of your memory. So I get it. It's even things like my son who passed away when I visited his grave. I took a stone because I can't go to see him; it's too far away. His grave isn't near, and I wouldn't have buried him. I would have cremated. It wasn't my choice, unfortunately. But I when I went there, I took a stone from where he's buried. So that's just because I can't. But I know some people it's bizarre, but it's just something that I can touch, you know, when I think about things. So I think a lot of people maybe in the chat understand that. Maybe some don't, but I think most people understand the need to have, you know, like when someone passes away, what do we have? We have a photo of them, or if you're lucky, and I'm lucky enough. I wish I was lucky enough to have my son's ashes. I don't. So, but we often have, you know, or some old toy that belonged to a pet that has long gone, or you know, I do. I have a pet. I had a pet sheep that died because of something was wrong with its brain, and I had a little toy, squeaky toy for her. I've still got the squeaky toy, and she's been gone for 10 years. So it's just a human thing, I think, that we all like to sometimes keep memories that we can actually touch and feel. So yeah, you don't need to explain it, Stan. Am I missing anything else, Pat, or everybody's all right?
Everybody's doing pretty good. I guess it is 10:30 here, so I know you got some things you got to get done, and
I do have some things to get done. This has been fun.
I appreciate
you do it again any other time. You get if you ever want me back, happy. And I need to get you over onto my live too. Yeah, maybe you can fill in when Enzo can't come in.
I'm not smart.
You can say my favorite word for me though. Go on, say it. What's my favorite word?
Vehicle.
People. Vehicle. Love it when a Southern man or Southern anybody says vehicle. I can't do it. Vehicle. I don't know. I can listen to that. I don't know what it is about that word, but I think because when you say it's the Southern accent's really strong with that word, the way it's said. But I do like me a good Southern accent. But yeah, this has been a delight. And to anybody who may have asked me a question in chat and I didn't see it, it's because I can't see chat. So apologies. But if anybody wants to come on over to my channel, The Karen Show, that's what it's called, The Karen Show. Don't be frightened. I'm not really a Karen. Come on over and find me and say hello and tell me Jonathan sent you. But yeah, Jonathan, you're gorgeous. You're a good man. And I'm just super impressed that you have my cookbook. That was so weird. That's really strange.
I've had this now for about a year and a half now.
Well, there you go. I've had mine for a week and a half. I was just, yeah, that's really, so I'm going to do a bit of cooking. And yeah, and I'm actually in the mood for pulling out my DVDs and having another look at Mayberry. But yeah, it wasn't. Oh God, I've gone blank. What's his name? Out of Happy Days. I've just gone blank. Yeah, Ron Howard. He was an adorable little baby boy. He was so cute. But yeah, I do love the show. It went for a long time.
May says thank you.
I don't know. Yeah. What was that?
May says thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Yeah, a pleasure, May. A long time coming. John has been asking me for a while, and then I don't know, but we finally did it. I just said, "Give me a date," and he gave me a date, and I made sure I was here, so it's all good. But
Vicky says she's in the cookbook too.
Well, there you go. There it is. It is a good cookbook. It's got tons of recipes in it, like some things I've never heard of, and I'm going to have to give them a go. But I am going to make. I did say I don't think I said it on live, but I saw somebody talking about something called a poke cake, and I thought, what the hell is a poke cake? And then I watched the do it, and I thought it's absolutely an American thing. And I thought, right, I should have a look and see if there's a recipe for poke cake in here. But yeah, so I'm going to go and make a poke cake today. And I just thought something different. And I'm thinking, I haven't had a look yet, but I'm hoping there's a recipe for pumpkin pie in here, because that's another thing in Australia that we don't do. We don't have pumpkin pie. There's a lot of yummy American we don't have here in Australia. And the one thing that I can't get, I was going to make, I think it's called ambrosia or something like that. Like it's a Thanksgiving thing. You put marshmallow, a tin of fruit, marshmallow, and cream whip. It's not called cream whip. It's something whip. It's something whip. It looks like cream, and you put it through. It was this thing, and I think in Canada they call it ambrosia. But yeah, so lots of things, but we can't get some of the ingredients here. But there you go. Well, anyway, I'll shut up because otherwise it'll be another half hour till we get off. Thank you everybody for saying hey to me, and do come on over and check out my channel if you want to. You don't have to. And yeah, thank you for having me, Jonathan. It's been a pleasure. It's been fun.
I appreciate you being on, and I really enjoyed having you on as a guest. You're always welcome to come back.
Oh, well, I will because I like it. You're fun. And say hello to your wife and on 11 years of marriage. And maybe next time you're live, you can bring up a little kitty cat and show us the baby kittens.
I will.
But yeah, or at least a photo and let us know how they're going. But there you go. Okay, well, I'm off. I've got things to do. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. And thank you, Jonathan.
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye. All right, everybody. So thank everybody for being here tonight. I really, really enjoyed it. It was the coolest hour and a half show that I've did in a long time. I really enjoy it. Everybody that I have come on has always been a good guest and been awesome. I couldn't tell you which one's my favorite because everybody's my favorite. So thank y'all so much for a wonderful, wonderful show. And I do appreciate all my mods and everybody coming in and helping me out with that. Thanks y'all for sharing the link and everything. Thank you, May, for sharing Karen's link and everything. So I really enjoyed it. I hope y'all have a wonderful, blessed day. I will not have no talk show next Sunday or Saturday because that's our celebration weekend, and I ain't going to do nothing them 2 days. April 13th, Ron Fitzgerald's coming back on. We had to reschedule because it was mess up on my end. I didn't get him the information sent out to him when I needed to. When I did send it, I didn't send it to him. I sent it to my rough draft. So I had to redo all of it again. So we went and rescheduled and all this stuff. So thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate each and every one.